Alright YouTube, I'm Jerry, it's Egypt.
Welcome to day 9 of our Egypt honeymoon. We're visiting 2 temples today, with the first being Edfu Temple, and it's a 2.5 hour drive from our hotel. During this drive, we got to see loads of the countryside in Egypt and drove past quite a lot of Muhammad Ali's aqueducts. This is something I'll talk about later in the video. On the way, we got to see the Temple of El Kab as we passed by, but didn't have time to visit. This temple was built between 1550 and 1295 BC, and it's dedicated to Nekhbet and Hathor. This is the glorious Edfu Temple. We're told that the Edfu Temple that you see today was constructed between 237 and 57 BC. The construction would have started with Ptolemy III and completed by Ptolemy XII. This temple is the best preserved in all of Egypt due to it being covered in sand for centuries. It's absolutely massive, so would have had to be a whole load of sand. Unfortunately, the Crusaders still managed to get to a load of the depictions and damage them, as the stories didn't line up with their religious beliefs. As you enter, the courtyard is surrounded by 32 massive columns, and they have the symbols of the lotus and papyrus at the top, signifying Upper and Lower Egypt. Once you've made your way through the courtyard, you get to the great hyper-style hall. This features 12 columns that have floral and palm tops holding up the beautiful astronomical ceiling. This temple is also home to loads of wildlife, so if you go into some of the rooms and look up, you'll even see bats hanging from the ceiling. The columns and halls in this temple are designed to represent the primordial world and are covered in stories absolutely everywhere. The stories include the creation of the planet, and they also tell the story of Horus beating Set in the battle after he murders and steals the throne from his father. There's lots more images of Unks and Was scepters in this temple too, similar to Hatshepsut's temple. But in this one, there's even some depiction of Unks with arms holding scepters, which is just bizarre. Right at the heart of the temple is the sanctuary. This room was the holiest of holies and it's home to this incredible shrine. It's made from a single piece of black granite and it's just another one of those examples of stone carving and polishing that doesn't make any sense based on the capabilities that we thought they had. We're told that it was created by Nakhtenabu II, who ruled between 358 and 340 BC. Rumour has it that this section of the temple is actually part of a much older temple that could have been the reason why Edfu was built in this location. This temple is absolutely massive and you could easily spend all day here if you wanted to. As we leave, we had to drive through a busy market street. It's crazy to see temples like Edfu right in the middle of areas that are still used by the locals. We now had a 1.5 hour drive to Kom Ombo down a whole load of desert roads. And here we are, this is Kom Ombo. This temple is located on the east bank of the Nile, and it's roughly 32 miles north of Aswan. So if you want to avoid the long drive like we did, you could always visit it if you're staying in Aswan. Kom Ombo was constructed between 180 and 47 BC, starting with Ptolemy VI and ending with Ptolemy XIII. There were also some extra bits added during the Roman period between 30 and 395 AD. This is one of the very rare temples in Egypt that's dedicated to two gods. On the right side, it's dedicated to Sobek, which is their crocodile god, and on the left side, it's for Horus the Elder, who was Osiris's brother, the falcon god. Unfortunately, a lot of this temple has been destroyed by being so close to the Nile, along with earthquakes and Coptic Christians who defaced parts of it, since it didn't align with their beliefs. They did that absolutely everywhere in Egypt. You'll also notice that some of this temple has been carefully dismantled, and that was the work of Muhammad Ali. He used bits of ancient temples like this to make the canals that you saw on the drive here. I guess the only good thing about him dismantling the temples was we got a chance to see how they actually held them together in the first place. One of the main reasons that he built the aqueducts was to help with irrigation and farming all over Egypt, but the irony of doing that with this temple in particular is this temple includes instructions on how to work with the seasons. There are even calendars on the wall, so we actually know exactly how the Egyptians measured time. So here is an inscription for their calendar. This explains how their year was made up of 4 seasons. Each season had 3 months, and each month was made up of 30 days. And the month was also split up into 3 10-day weeks. Their seasons were called Arket, Peret, and Shemu. The first being Arket, which is the season of flooding, when the Nile would flood the land. The second was Peret, which was their season of growing, where the Nile's flood water would have fertilized the land, allowing the civilization to grow crops. The third and final season was Shemu, the dry season or season of low water, which was their season of harvest. Once these 3 seasons were complete, the Egyptians had an intercalary month, which was made out of only 5 days for most years, but 6 days on a leap year, so that their year still lined up with the Earth's rotation around the sun. This period was also known as the birthdays of the gods, with gods being celebrated on different days of this short month. At the rear of the temple, you'll even find some inscriptions about medical devices, because this temple was actually home to a medical clinic. Next door to this temple, you will find a museum of crocodile mummies, and some of them are as large as 14 foot long. There were over 300 different crocodile mummies found in this area, and the best ones are displayed in this museum. Along with the crocodile mummies, you'll find some amazing statues and offerings to the god Sobek. This beautiful carved stone near the exit is an offering to Sobek from Neb Nefer, an important priest from the time of Amenhotep III, and it dates to somewhere between 1391 and 1351 BC. It's decorated on all sides with the images of Hathor, the name Amenhotep III, and Neb Nefer praying to Sobek. After seeing these two incredible temples today, we got back in the car for a 3-hour drive back to Luxor. One thing that stuck in our memory about the trip back is that we kept getting asked by our driver to shut the blinds every time we were going near police. In this side of the desert, the police will try and scare tourists into giving them money, so that's something to watch out for if you decide to drive to these temples from Luxor. As we got back to Luxor, we drove past Luxor Temple, which is unfortunately surrounded by new Egyptian roads, shops and houses. It's very lucky that they built the city around the temple instead of just taking the temple down to make way for newer buildings. Thanks for joining me to look around these two incredible temples. But make sure to come back because there's still a few more days of this trip left to come.